I'm in Turkey, I'm in Istanbul to be specific, and I probably don't look my best. It's very hot and I'm probably pretty red. And right now I'm in Europe, and back there you can see the Asian side where I currently live. And I didn't really plan to do this or do any video or vlog from this trip, but I need to, because I need to have a rant about something that happened yesterday or here in general. Istanbul is said to be Turkey's most open-minded and most tolerant city, but what has happened lately is just proof that it's not. And maybe a little backstory. It was supposed to be a whole week of LGBT Pride activities, and a week ago the Trans Pride March was already stopped and dispersed by the police, and they didn't do it by the use of words but the use of rubber pellets and tear gas. And after that, which I think was in the press and in the news, even in Germany and I think around the whole world, because this was just ridiculous. And after that, the youth organization of a radical party here in Turkey threatened the city officials to do anything that's necessary to stop or prevent degenerates, as they say, for LGBT people to walk through their city. Because yesterday there was actually supposed to be a gay pride in Istanbul, which takes place every June. And in the past it wasn't a problem. Just last year it was already stopped and banned, and this year, well, I will come to that in a second. And I always look down because I wrote down some notes, because I'm really not prepared for this, and I probably would only, I don't know, I need some notes. So the Pride was supposed to take place yesterday, and hence the city banned the Pride because of security reasons. The security situation in Istanbul is not the best at the moment anyway, because the radical Kurdish party PKK always threatens the police or attacks the police here, because they want to establish a state Kurdistan for the Kurds, and they do it by violent methods. So yeah, and ISIS of course is also or has become a bit dangerous for countries in Europe as well. And just on Friday the organizers themselves cancelled the march. So before it was just banned by the city, but then the organizers themselves cancelled it because they probably didn't want to take any risks. But of course one could expect the LGBT people to show up and at least show some visibility in the streets, and not just stay at home and be afraid of whatever there will be. I should mention that homosexuality is not a crime in Turkey like it is in many, mainly Muslim countries, so it is allowed to be gay. Maybe you shouldn't kiss in public, but even as a heterosexual couple you probably shouldn't kiss in public. And I actually wanted to come here to cover and document on tape or in pictures whatever would happen during the banned Pride, because I mean anything could happen. So yesterday I went to Istiklal Caddesi, which is the main shopping area or the main shopping street in Istanbul, and the parade usually always goes through this street. And when I came there I was already shocked about how many policemen there were, and every 20 meters there was a water cannon, a huge water cannon. It was really incredible. And the policemen wore helmets, they had gas masks, and they had shields. And I don't know, I just walked up the whole street to Taksim Square, which is also a pretty central square in Istanbul, and there were about 40 police buses plus, let's say, 20 other police vehicles, amongst them also water cannons, and police were just everywhere. And if you didn't know what was supposed to go on in the city, you could think that they prepare for World War III. It was really ridiculous. And I walked around with an Italian radio journalist and his interpreter, and I could take some pictures. They knew some good spots, and yeah, just to see the calm before the storm. Let's express it like that. And when we walked back to where the organizers of the Pride planned to read a statement, because I mean, they should at least say something about why it was banned or why they decided to cancel it. So we walked back to the spot, and there were a lot of journalists and cameramen and photographers, so all the press people were basically there. And we were checked by the police 3 to 4 times, and the Italian journalist always showed his press card, and it was okay that he was with his interpreter and me as a photographer. So that was not a problem. But then a fourth police guy came to us, and for him the press card of the journalist wasn't enough. The interpreter and I had to show our passports. As you know, I'm in the process of changing my name legally, so I have my old passport. I'm here as Leo, and the Italians knew me as Leo, so it was a bit stupid, the whole situation, but I mean, okay. And then the passports weren't enough, and the police guys told us to get into their car and to go with them to Taksim police department for whatever reason. We didn't do anything, we were just there. And then we drove to the whole Istiklal Street. It was very crowded, and we came to the police department. It was a small waiting room, and the whole policemen, they all were secret police or something. They didn't wear uniforms or anything, and they still kept our passports, and we were there for 3 hours in total, and we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know why they kept us for so long. At least they didn't took our cell phones, so we could inform our friends. And the journalist also talked to the Italian consulate in Istanbul and asked if they can do anything for us. And I was about to also call the German consulate, and because I already wrote down the German consulate's number, because I somehow knew that something like that would probably happen. And a problem was that the Turkish police most of them don't speak English, and I don't speak Turkish. I can count in Turkish to 10, and I can say thank you and please and hello and bye, but that's everything I can speak. So whenever they asked me something in Turkish, I said sorry, but I don't speak Turkish. And they tried it for 4 times and I mean, my language skills don't change in an hour, so. And then sometimes they asked me a question in English and I was happy and I answered and they didn't understand my answer, or then the second question was in Turkish again, so we didn't have the same level of communication. And I thought, okay, at least we are lucky that we are at the police department and we don't we are not getting attacked by the tear gas, because it was expected that tear gas will be in the whole Istiklal Caddesi, in this whole street, and in the end it was like that from what I heard. But the tear gas made its way into the police department, so we were coughing and crying, and tears were rolling down our cheeks. It was just a ridiculous situation. It was so absurd. And yeah, as I said, we didn't know why we were there or what was going on. And then one after the other we had to make a statement, or we were asked separately how long we had known each other, why we were there. I said I'm a tourist. I mean, I am actually a tourist. I'm not a professional journalist or something. And luckily the Italian guys, I mean, they heard my official female name and they were cool with it, and they immediately checked it, and they also gave the Italian consulate my official name so they could also do something for me. And after 3 hours we had to sign something in Turkish. I don't know what it said. There was a woman from the Gay Pride committee who came to the police department, and she said it's okay what you sign, but I don't know literally what it said. Something like that our passports got checked, or it was just a passport control, which is ridiculous. 3 hours. And yeah, then we were free. 2 guys of the Italian consulate came and took us with them. And I mean, they only spoke Italian, and I understand some Italian, but I don't speak it myself. But from what I understood and from what the 2 Italian guys I was with told me, it could have happened that we would have had to spend the night at the police department if it wasn't for the Italian consulate. So I'm really thankful. I really appreciate what the Italian consulate did for us, because I don't know if it's so nice to spend the night in a Turkish prison for having done nothing. I am absolutely innocent. I didn't do anything. And the 2 Italian guys didn't do anything either. So yeah, this was my story, and I just wanted to have this rant because the number of policemen and this whole machinery yesterday, it was just disproportionate. It was planned to be a week or an event of love and the rainbow flag, and it was just interrupted and dispersed and torn down by the police, by violence, by rubber pellets and by tear gas. And I think that's just not human, and it's nothing that should be accepted by society and by other countries. And I was in contact with a German public service radio station or also TV channel journalist who is a correspondent in Istanbul. We talked over the phone, and he told me that even German politicians and German journalists were detained by the police for probably also doing nothing. Yeah, I don't agree with what's going on in Turkey right now, because this is ridiculous, and this is against any human right. And yeah, I think this video is my least professional video, and it's my most spontaneous video, and I won't edit it. It will just be one long rant in front of Marmara Sea and Asia and Europe and Istanbul and Turkey and a lot of sun. And I stay here till Wednesday, so two more days to go, and I hope Istanbul is a bit nicer today to me, because yesterday was my first day in Istanbul and it was really shitty. So yeah, now I ran out of words, so I just say see you in a couple of days for my, 8-month video. Okay, see you. Bye from Turkey.